Good evening, everyone, and welcome to That Sewing Blab. My name is Dawn Pengali, and our co-host tonight is not Alethea. She's caught up in the wedding fun of her son's wedding. So tonight we are honored to have Myra of One So Sweet here. Thanks for coming, Myra.
You're welcome. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this session of Blab. And for those of you who may be new to this Blab sessions that we have, I am Myra from the blog Simple Inspirations. And tonight I am happy to be co-hosting with the lovely Dawn in Alethea's place. She is out taking care of wedding business right now. So first off, I want to introduce you guys to this young lady. Before I introduce her, I want to tell you a little bit about this lovely woman. She is the owner of an online bridal store that specializes in pants and bridal pants and jumpsuits. And the store is actually named after herself, Daniela Tabois. Did I get that right? Yes. Okay. And she is Brooklyn based, and she started, this was amazing to me because she started her fashion career actually at the age of 12 when she was sketching fashion design in her notebook. It's like amazing to me. She looks like she's not too much past 12 herself right now. My goodness.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But she graduated from Wood Toby Coburn, I think it is, School of Fashion Design, which is awesome. She also has a blog where she showcases her new additions to her collection. So you guys, if you go out to her website, you'll see, her beautiful things that she has there. She's actually worked with several design companies since she graduated from school. Some of those design companies are Jill Stewart, E.S. Sutton, and I believe one was at Last Sportwear. I just want to ask her a couple of quick questions because she has just so much, but let me introduce this lady with no further ado. This is Miss Daniela Tabois.
Hello, everyone. What a question.
Oh, thank you. Well, I want to start by asking you this first question, Daniela. What was the deciding factor that made you open your own store?
Well, I actually, always dreamed of having my own store, brand, label since I was young. So that was always on my mind since I wanted to first got started into fashion design. I did work in the industry, and I worked, with several companies for several years. And at a certain point, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and take a chance on myself. After, working for people, it was like, you know what, it's not going to get no higher than where I was. So right. It's either I, leave and move and start continuing to work on my own stuff, because I was doing it part-time while I was working full-time in the industry. So I said, let me give it a chance and work on this full-time and see where it goes. And that's how I got into, starting my own online business.
Oh, wow. It's awesome. Well, it's evident from what I saw on your website that you're a very talented woman. You have some gorgeous pieces out there in your store. And there was one in particular I was telling Ms. Dawn earlier about that. Had I seen something like that when I got married, I would have wore that at my wedding. It was called the Savannah Off the Shoulder bridal jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's it. I love that jumpsuit, and I would definitely, even if I renew my vows, I might be wearing that.
Right. I think the industry, the bridal industry, definitely needs more variety. Yes. Because there's a lot of women who are, getting remarried, renewing their vows, and maybe they don't want to go with the whole route of the whole dress situation. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot of women who really want to be comfortable and still look glamorous at the same time. And I think there's a lack of that in the market.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love that. You have some gorgeous pieces, and there's many of them that I like, but that one I want it. I want it like right away. Now, with saying that, I have another question for you. It led to another question. Do you have a favorite piece, or is there some specific project that you prefer to work on, or you enjoy working on more than others?
I am more, my favorite is mostly my designs, my brand, because this is what I've been dreaming to do since I was like 12, 13. And that's my first love. And then everything else is like secondary. You know, whenever I need that downtime to like rethink, it's time for me to go away a little bit and just get distracted so I can get inspired again. And that's what I do with my YouTube channel. But most of the time, that's my first love, is my brand.
So saying that, and I know you must be extremely busy with all the pieces that I've seen you on, and you do both custom work and ready to wear, which is what Dawn mentioned to me. Do you make a lot of your own clothes?
No, I'm not interested in making any of, no. I'm not interested in making any of my clothes. I can basically buy those things if I want to. For me, it's about unique, very like different, because I'm very different and creative when it comes to my style. And it's not for just anyone and everyone. It's just for that special woman who feels that I'm looking for something very ultra special to stand out and be unique when it comes to my designs. So my concern, I'm so busy that I can't even think about making regular clothes for myself. I just prefer to buy just like regular stuff to go out, because I do a lot of labor. So it's not my main focus. I like to do like the specialty stuff. A special occasion, a statement piece is more, I feel like that's more creative for me. I prefer to do that.
Okay. And I understand that. Everybody has something that they prefer to do. And if you're that busy, putting your time into making something like a skirt for yourself might not be as lucrative as putting together something, you know what I mean?
Yes. I know. I have tried several times to do so, but it's just like, oh, I could waste my time doing something so creative, so elaborate. Why do a plain skirt?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Speaking of elaborate, Dawn, I don't know if you saw it. I think it's on her homepage of her store, but there's a gold skirt with a bustier. It's white with gold embroidery on it. It is absolutely stunning. And it leads me, while she's looking for that, it leads me to my last question, so I can let somebody else get in now. But earlier this year, you were a vendor at the Etsy, I think, wedding event.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. And I remember this was actually on your wardrobe rack at that event. It looked like a beautiful event from what I saw on your video. Were there any lessons learned that you walked away from that event for you?
The feedback based off the customer and how they reacted to the clothes. That was a lot of knowledge that I got on my pieces. And I think lessons that I've learned, you know, I can't really say too much. I think it's more of that event was more of an introduction. And I did learn that a lot of people are very traditional. So it was like a warming up situation where I have to learn how to introduce my line to them as another option. So that's another way for me to like, okay, yes, I understand everybody knows that the dress is traditional and stuff like that. And they're open to, you know, wearing my pieces as secondary. But I want them to also realize that it's also, my pieces are like really glamorous and it's not really considered for secondary, unless if you want to, it's okay. Right. But it's really for the main woman who feels that I don't want to opt for a dress. I want something that's fabulous, comfortable, and I prefer to wear pants just because I just want to feel different. So I think I have to learn to explain that better to that customer. So when they do come, they have a better understanding of what I do. because majority of the people that came by, the women that came by, they were like, they thought it was dresses at first, and that skirt and the bustier was what caused them to pull into my booth area. But when they finally went in to see the pieces for itself, by itself, they were shocked because they didn't realize that it wasn't dresses, it was pants. And they were really astonished of how beautiful the pieces were up close. And it kind of tricked them to believe that it was a dress in the beginning. So,
well, I think that's going to be changing in the future. As I stated many, many years ago, when I had my wedding, if I had that option, I would have taken it. I really would have taken it, honestly.
Right.
So, Dawn, do you have any questions for her?
Oh, I was just, when we were just talking earlier, we were talking about how you really want to get across your journey, you know, what it was like from start through working in the industry to now being on your own, because you do feel like you have things to share, tips, so that maybe people won't hit the same pitfalls that you did. So I was curious, to some of those things that, you know, anyone who's thinking about starting a business or their own line, some advice you might give.
Well, I think it depends on the person and where you see yourself and what what's your vision for your line, your life in general. Like when I was younger, I was at 14, I remember watching, there was a show called Main Floor, and that was the only channel that I was able to get fashion shows. And what they show on that channel was like Valentino, Oscar de la Renta, and other top level designers. And when I used to watch them, I used to be like, I want to design like that. That's the level of work I want to do. So that right there was my mission, becoming that type of designer. That's a different price market. It's a different level of work. And I committed to myself saying that, all right, I don't know anyone who does work in that level, but I'm going to go ahead and find out the best way I can to get, you know, my craft to be at that level. So at the time in my high school, they offered internships, which I took the opportunity to go ahead and use that to learn. And I worked at a fabric company, which gave me, you know, a good idea of, you know, fabrications and what type of fabrications for what styles that I can do, and the quality and the level of fabrics that they use. And that way I was able to see other design houses while we used to go on appointments to showcase the fabrics and stuff. And then from there, it was like a guidance of, okay, let's go, why don't you go to this school? And from the school, that was where I was able to pick up more of the technical side of design. It's not just sewing at home and just like, you know, putting, you know, pieces of fabric together. It's like the whole technical side of it, where it's like design, you know, trying to look for the right material, for the perfect design, and going to fittings, and, you know, it's very detailed when it comes to design. And then right after school, because, you know, they teach you the basics, but even that I couldn't really understand too much. But right after school, that's when I got a job in the industry to really see what it takes to run a business, a design house business. And I was in shock to see what was expected of such. But I think it depends on the person. You have to decide for yourself where you want to see yourself. If you just see yourself as someone to just locally do something in your neighborhood or in your community, then you just go ahead and do that. Or if you see yourself further than that, then you have to go ahead and look for information about how to become that person that you want to become. So for me, my journey, I like to share details of where I've come from and what I've been through and have done in the past, to share with other people who considering or thinking about it, or maybe that wasn't an option before, but now I didn't know there was something out there that is more than what I'm doing right now.
And
who were some?
Oh, sorry, Myra.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find it very interesting. You not only, like when you discussed it earlier, it's very important to you, but it's also on your YouTube channel. You do little segments, you know, my life as a designer. It's nice that you are sharing that with people so they can see that other side. And just speaking about your YouTube channel, it just shows another whole aspect of you, because you have the made to measure, the ready to wear. You've got different aspects that are very exciting. But then you go over to your your lovely YouTube channel, and you have things on draping, how your life in the industry, and some really funky DIYs. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, you do lots of different things, and it's like I was telling Myra earlier, a bit of a tornado of a designer. You're just so creative; it's coming out everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have one aspect you prefer more, the made to measure, the ready to wear, the DIY, or do you find that they all just are good outlets for you?
Right now, I'm feeling like I'm going into more of a technical side, like, well, not technical, but bringing more of the, how do you call it, the advanced sewing, more like the draping. I want to bring that into it because I was doing, when I first started YouTube, I was just sharing like little craft, ideas that will pop in my head because I like to design stuff that I don't see, or if it's something that's kind of trendy, I like to put my own spin on it because, you can never get away from trends, but I like to put my own creative spin on things. So I like to go ahead and showcase that on my YouTube channel. But now I'm getting more into like doing the whole draping, the process of designing a piece from the beginning. And I want to showcase that from step to step, step by step, so that way they'll know, oh, this is how I've been designing and how I've done it as an independent designer. But that's not the end goal for me because to be honest, I don't really like sewing, but I need to get where I want to go. So I have to do whatever I need to do to get there. So that's the direction I'm going right now.
Oh, so you said you really don't like sewing, but you sew so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. It took me like 10 years to get to the level that I am now.
Wow.
10 years. So yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, like as a beginning designer, you have to be very cost effective when it comes to your supplies and your labor. So right now, everything is like, I have to do my samples. So I get it to the best level as I can get it to. And then if anything takes off, then I can pass it on to someone who can assist me with multiple pieces if I necessarily need it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Your designs are very individual and they have a really funky flair. You don't see them just anywhere. But I did notice one of your posts on YouTube was talking about how someone literally ripped off your design. They put your photo on their page to sell something. And I mean, I guess if you're just making t-shirts, people might not notice as much. But as your things are so unique, that would have, ticked me off.
Oh, it did. It did at that time. But, I kind of expected that they would do something like that. But I didn't know if I'm used to getting like knockoffs. So meaning like, oh, you want to copy exact same. I'm not going to say anything about that because, I mean, the industry does that anyway because there's so many different markets. But it's just the fact that you're just taking the photos of an actual designer's work and not even putting out your own version of it. That was what's got me upset because it's like, that's like a lot of work that I put my stuff into, and for you to just deliberately just take the photo itself and just trying to put on your website to sell, it's not right.
It's despicable.
Yeah, it's the ultimate in laziness. They couldn't even make their own. But I mean, I looked at that and I felt for you. But then I also thought, especially after seeing your DIY, your made to measure, and your ready to wear, that you have so much creativity that if all they can do is copy someone else, you're always moving forward. So I mean, it is awful, but I mean, they're not going to hold you back. So I mean,
right. Thank you for that. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
Because that's your design, and if someone, actually had a lady this happened to, but if someone were to actually, whoever took that picture and put it up for sale there, if someone went to order it, when they got the actual piece, it would look nothing like yours at all. That actually happened to a lady who purchased something from a picture, and she sent in her measurements, and when she got it back, it didn't look anything like the photo. That is a shame. That's truly a shame for both the designer and the end customer.
And they get left out because at the end of the day, you don't have no one to reach to assist you with your problems. And if again, you can't really stop the customer from going wherever you want to go. So it depends on them as well if they're wanting to take the risk. But at the end of the day, I prefer to have a communication with someone, to contact someone to say, hey, what is this about? Can I get assistance? But in these cases, you just think about the price and then you get caught up into something that you can't even get a response to, or even get a feedback or hear back once you know.
If it looks good to be true, it most likely is. And whether it's poor craftsmanship, poor materials, whatever, poor fit, I think a lot of people know when they see a price, and they kind of know. Get what you bought.
Exactly. Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions, Myra?
Oh,
sorry. Yes, Daniel.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I thought you was asking me. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. I have all of my questions that I want to ask, but
for our viewers, if you guys had any other questions or things you wanted to add.
Well, I have one more thing that it wasn't on my list, but when Daniela was speaking, I just wondered, when you were in school and right after you got out of school and you started working in the industry, were there any strong mentors for you?
Actually, the woman I worked for the fabric company was definitely a mentor who helped me, who guided me onto, which direction I should try to go into. So I usually come to her when it comes to like, pricing, or if you got a sale or something, what would you do if you have anything like that? She'll assist me with that. Also, the people who I worked with at the companies, I had great relationships with them as well. And whenever I was able to go ahead and talk to them about, my design aesthetic, they were able to tell me about the real woman in today and what they really expect, because, they've been in the business for a very long time. So quite a few guidance.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes I do feel like I am alone because of the segment that I am in the bridal. So I kind of feel like I don't really have someone to really talk to about the bridal business, since a lot of people are doing traditional, and they're doing traditional, and there's something that's trending like a jumpsuit. They'll just do it for one piece, but they remain doing their own thing for so long. So it's kind of complicated, but it comes with the territory. So I go with the flow.
It sounds like you've done a great job with that too. It looks like you've done a great job with that. Okay, that was it for me, Dawn. You think we have time? Yeah, yep, we have plenty of time to open it up. If anyone has some questions out there, I see Alethea has jumped on to kind of watch. And
Connie has a question for you, Daniela. She wanted to know what made you gravitate towards bridal. It's a very good question, Connie. Thank you.
Well, I was doing a lot of evening wear. At the time I was testing a lot of stuff, trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go into. And then people kept on contacting me for like weddings and, special occasion situations. So at one point I got a request in for bridal jumpsuits for bridesmaids. And I said, I kind of like the wedding segment. And I felt like the wedding business didn't have anything special. I was, like I said, I was testing out, so I really didn't have a mission or a goal at that time. But now I have like a full vision and a goal for the bridal industry. So I'm like, this is something that I think is necessary, because there's not a lot of options out there. Me personally, like if I wanted to go and get something like unique and not a dress, I won't find anything. I would have to go and get it made. And that's kind of frustrating, because you don't know everybody whose, handwork is good, is based off recommendation. So I'm like, this is a space where I think it's necessary for me to go ahead and do and stick by. So that's how I got into bridal.
It's quite an ignored niche. So it's great that someone's there to pour their creativity into it. We have another
Right.
question as well from Alethea, our normal host, co-host. She wants to know what the average amount of time you spend designing or creating a piece or collection.
Since I've been, sewing for so long, it doesn't take me that long. If it's a lot of handwork, it takes me about, for one design, about a week and a half. And I try to minimize that as possible, because I don't want it to carry so long, because I have to pump out more. But if I really want to do a collection, like, it depends on how many pieces I have in the collection, about 2 months to produce something, meaning like going for the right fabric and looking for the right components to apply to the pieces. For a collection, about 2 months if I'm hand sewing it, and about a week for a piece, depending on how much work I go into developing it.
Very interesting. Alethea has lots of questions tonight.
Yeah, she does. She
has to know what your most treasured piece to date is. Very good question, Alethea.
Oh, okay. One of my treasured piece. I think my first jumpsuit. Like my first jumpsuit bridal piece that I did. And that one's a lot of that one's really what got people intrigued. And I think that's my treasured one so far. I think I have but that's stuff in the past, so it's like I keep them as archives, but like for something like, oh my God, when I look back and I'm like, did I do that? Did I make that? That's like one of my pieces. One of my pieces I really adore. Yeah.
So what do you see yourself doing in the future? Do you have like a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year plan, or just an idea of where you want to go and you're working every day towards that?
I'm working towards my brand, because I want it to be, I want to be like in the category of Vera Wang.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a huge, big dream. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but that's what I've been working towards. And like I said, since I'm coming in a new category, moving forward for women who are more modern and fearless and ready for something different, I think I can able to conquer if I keep my focus. So hopefully in 5 years, I'm not sure. I'm not putting a time frame on it, because these things take so much time. So I can't really say when it's going to happen, but I'm working towards it.
Well, I tell you, that's awesome. Alethea says that you're already in a category all your own. So we put that out there. We agree. And we have another question too for you. It's from Faye Dow. Is her handle, Miss Linda Lewis. She said, did you design the top that you are wearing tonight? If so, how did you achieve the ruffle at the top? Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually on your website for sale, isn't it?
Yes, yes, that's that. Yes, that's our current website. Yes. The ruffles is the width of the bodice and the sleeves. So it's like you would need to measure the width of your like from here to here, and then double that twice, so you can get it really wide. And then you put it in. Then you put elastic inside, and I did it as a binding. So I bind it first, and then I added the elastic to shrink it down to where I wanted it to be. So if I think, I don't know, I don't remember the measurements exactly to shrink it, but you have to double it twice. So that way you can really make it really wide, and then shrink it when you do put the elastic in, which is the elastic is the length of your whole circumference of your shoulder. So that way it can be fold. And I just left it on top of gave me like 2 inches on top. So that way when I apply my binding, it's 2 inches away to give me that ruffle. And it's sheared here.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. We're getting some comments saying, Linda says, thank you for sharing that technique. And the top is beautiful. It's gorgeous on you. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
see.
you.
Do we have any others?
So what is a day in the life of Daniela like? Because you have so many things on the go, so many balls up in the air.
Yeah, that is so true. I can't imagine. It must be rewarding though, actually seeing your pieces out there. And when you make a sale, it must be rewarding because you've come a long way just to get where you are right now. So to me, anything from this point on is going to be a reward of your hard work that you've done all these years.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day too, when I was like, I was thinking back to my first sale when I left the industry. And that was like, oh my gosh, I actually got to say, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. You know, I was because before I was doing it, I was putting on little fashion shows. I was like, you know, but, you know, again, people was like, oh, it's a new designer. You know, they kind of skeptical at first. So when they see the work, they're like, wow. But when you actually get that sale from a random stranger who has no connection, doesn't even know who you are, and they willing to see your work for what it is and see that that's them and they can see themselves in it, it's a whole different type of feeling. It's not the same as someone putting on a show and someone saw it. No, this is like completely, I didn't tell you anything. You saw what you saw, you loved it. You felt like that was for you. That is like amazing. It's amazing. That feeling, I would never forget it. The first time I sold something, and then the first time I sold one of my bridal jumpsuits to the bride who wanted it for her wedding day, and that was like, wow. Like she was just, this is it. This is the one I want. She had no hesitation or anything like that. She said that was the one for her, and I was just ecstatic. The fact that there are women out there that's looking for something special like that. So yeah, it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. Like, even if you get a little press or someone coming to ask you about questions about your line, it's just like, wow, people actually care. Like, they really love it. So
well, we have another question here. Deb actually asked where you located, what city and state.
I am located in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I'm Brooklyn based.
We have another question. Oh, I'm sorry, Dawn.
And I was just going to read it out too. Faye is asking, what fabric do you use the most, and what's your favorite?
High quality polyester. It's kind of like silk. Silk is very expensive when it comes to purchasing it, and it's very limited. So it's like you can buy it today and then tomorrow it's gone. And then you're going to have to wait for a very long time. But if you find like a good high quality polyester quality fabric, depending on what kind of fabrication you're into, I think it does help because they can easily bring it back and over again. So I rarely use a lot of silk. I try to keep it eco-friendly because I think that's very important. But I do look for high quality polyester, and you know, I think that's very important when it comes to my designs because I really want it to look very high end, and the fabric quality is very important to me when I go and shop. So.
Okay. Would anyone like to come on camera and ask a question? Do we have
I can't do it.
Brave people out there?
I can't do it because I'm in Alethea's seat. Let's see.
Yeah. Myra, you are doing awesome. You're doing
thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Some big shoes to fill there.
You are a class act on your own, ma'am. You're holding it down.
Thank you.
Daniela. Wow. You are speaking my language tonight. And I'm glad. I think it was a God thing that I'm on this end of it because I get to sit back and just hear. You know, bridal wear and formal wear, that's my language. That's what I do. And so to hear you talk about it with such passion and zeal like you do, it's like, oh man, I'm just sitting here like a kid in a candy store. But what I wanted to say to you, you made a comment earlier about how you want to be in the same category as Vera Wang, but I want to tell you personally, you are in a category all your own. I mean, you are striving, and I know what you mean, and you are striving to be like the next Vera Wang or be just as great. But I'm gonna tell you, you're already there. It's just a matter of a moment of time. And I think the more that you have avenues of getting out there like this and other places, I think your work is already incredible. I think you're doing things that the bridal industry has not seen yet. I work outside of me doing bridal wear and formal wear as my home business. I work for David's Bridal. I have worked as an alterations manager for David's Bridal for 8 years. And let me tell you, the stuff that I see you do is stuff that the average stores are not offering. So you are much needed. And so I think that right now you are in a place of being a trailblazer. I think you are setting the trends, you know, for what you're doing right now. So I think you have an incredible eye for fashion, for what you see. So I just want to encourage you to say, keep doing what you're doing, because right now it's just a matter of time. And your name is going to be out there and like, it's just a matter of time. So because I've seen your website, and when Dawn introduced you to me, I was like, oh my God, where has she been? Why don't I know about her? Why haven't I seen her before? But trust and know, I believe that you are going to just start seeing yourself more and more and more, because what you have to offer and your mindset about your fashion, your zeal for it, your passion behind it, and what you want to see brought to the forefront for other women. There are women out there that want what you have right now, but just don't know where it is. You know? And so I think the more that you become known, I believe that, I mean, you're going to have to, I don't know how big your design house is now. I don't know where you do it out of. I believe you're going to be.
I do it in my own house. Like that's it. Like that's the story of it. You know, everybody starts from somewhere. And I did share that on my YouTube channel. Like I want someone to see that it is not what you guys think it is. Like, you know, the fancy office, the fancy this. Before the fancy office, this is where it is. Like you're in the trenches. Like you're basically down on every single needle and thread, and you are going ahead and sewing away. Like that's what the real situation is. Don't think that because your situation is not where you see someone else's, that's not where, you know, you should be. That's what it is for you at that
and
moment.
That's an awesome word, because
so
I take it. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that I take it for what it is.
That's an awesome word, and that's something that we always share with everybody else. You do what you do, but be good at what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? We're so busy look over to the left and to the right that we don't focus on us, you know, because the grass looks greener on the other side, but you already have a nice, good good growing grass right where you are. You just got to nurture it. And so I think what you're doing, I think is incredible. Keep doing that, because it's not just the average thing. I mean, it is. I mean, you're doing some couture stuff over there, you know, stuff that people haven't seen yet. And I think once they, like I said, once they get to know Daniela, is it Tabois? Tabois. Once they hear Daniela Tabois, let me tell you, I'm looking for your name to be out there any minute now.
I agree.
And so any way that I can help with that, you know, just put your name out there. I mean, I have a little old blog, have a little old Facebook page. But if I can put Daniela Tabois there, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, me too. And me too. And I seeing in what she was saying, Secret Garden here has made a comment that I totally 100% agree with. She says, anytime someone is stealing your designs, you have made a mark. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's very difficult. It is unbelievably difficult. And I think for me, and I want to say this because this is for anyone who's getting started. And for me, I had to go through the journey itself. I couldn't really learn if I was on a job. Like I said, the job for me was like a maximum. Like I couldn't grow any further than that, because I think they saw me in that type of level. So now that I'm on my own, I was able to learn certain things that I know I would have not learned on the job. So I think I needed to go through that. And even if, you know, you learn from someone else or you hear their story, at the end of the day, you need to live your truth. So that way it works for you, you know. I couldn't, I read the books, watched videos. I would have to put in the work to see the outcome from my life.
You got to make it your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take the information that you learn,
mm-hmm.
stir it in the pot, and make it your own, right? Yeah. And I think you are doing a fabulous job with that. And I just want to encourage you. I know, like you said, it's hard, and sometimes it seems like you're out there by yourself, but trailblazers are often alone. They're often lonely because nobody else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? So stay the course and keep doing what you're doing, because I'm looking forward to seeing all that you have to offer.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Thank you.
So I'm going to hop off and give somebody else an opportunity to hop in. But thank you for this, Dawn and Myra. You all are doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
We have another question here. Looks like it's from Faydal. Do you design for plus size women as well?
I haven't opened that category yet, because I don't think people understand what it means to, like, the technical. For me, it's technical, and I have to learn the curvier woman's body before I just go ahead and attempt. My designs are very intricate, so I have to master that first. So for me, I have to work on what I can do right now, and then I'll be able to go ahead and produce that for a more curvier woman. I think later on I would like to do that and open that category up, because that, again, I feel like there's really no high end for you for plus size women. I feel like they just abandoned you guys. Just you guys are not even getting any type of love, which is ridiculous. But it's a lot of technical that goes into that. So I have to take my time with that. I don't want to jump into something and just put out any old work just to cater to a group. No, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait. But I tell you, I have thought about it.
When you come out with it, it'll definitely be worth it. And those ladies will probably flock to you, because they have been neglected out there when it comes to high end like that. We have another question. Dawn, I feel like I'm stealing this from you, that you should be repeating these questions.
Run with it, Myra. Run with it.
Do you do all of your own patterning and sewing?
Yes, I drape my pieces. I do my own patterns because I have a particular fit and look that I want. I don't use any commercial stuff, because the commercial stuff, I don't understand it. I can't understand terminology like that. So I go ahead and develop my own pieces, my own patterns and stuff, because and that's how you develop your own uniqueness when it comes to designing. You have your own shape, what looks you want, and I like the freedom of that. So I just like to create from.
Is there anyone else who'd like to hop in the seat and ask Daniela a question? Don't be shy now. I promise Myra won't wait.
I know. I won't. Alethea.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead, Dawn.
Alethea was just saying, develop your own uniques. My daughter-in-law would love you. She's the one just getting married, isn't she? Yeah. Is it this week or next week? Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
So we don't have any more takers for the seat? Come on, you guys. Usually I do, but I'm already out here. So somebody come join me.
Did you take internships when you first started, or was it from school straight into paid employment? Because I hear a lot on the news nowadays that there's a lot of controversy about the internships, whether or not they should be, if it just makes people, it takes advantage of them or not. I was wondering what you thought about the issue.
I think internships are very educational, and I will say that it's very challenging if you do get into an internship that is, the designer itself is not a nice person. It can be difficult. Fashion industry is very cutthroat. And when it's very under pressure, they tend to be very direct and forward. There's really no, sugarcoating or anything like that. So if you don't have the thick skin to go along with that, you are going to, not going to make it through because they're just so cutthroat. For me, I did an internship when I was in school, and I did it at Joe Stewart, and it was very, very challenging. But I learned a lot, and that was what was most important to me. I don't appreciate disrespect. I'm very against anyone who are disrespecting people, working people. I don't appreciate that. But I am there to learn whatever that they have, because knowledge is key, and I think I can take you very far. So I took for what it was, and don't take everything too serious. And then you just learn and you just move on. And on top of that, the internships are usually temporary. But if you're looking for a company and you intern and you want to make it permanent, then having a great attitude, don't take everything too personal, and just learn just to get the experience is very key, important key. But there's great internships out there. I do believe in internships, and I don't think anyone should not do internships because of what people are saying. Every experience is different.
Daniela, I don't know if you've met Andrea from So To Quit.
Hey, Miss Andrea.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on.
I love what. Let me just tell you
Hi,
one
how are
thing right
you?
now. The red ruffle outfit with the off-the-shoulder top and the ruffle pants. Well, I don't know if it was red or orange. I just love it.
The red?
On your YouTube channel, you just
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh yes. The tapered pants, and the off the shoulder. Yes.
Girl, I just been following you for so long. When you did that video, when that Chinese company stole your stuff, I say I wasn't the only one, y'all. She did it too. That was a good video, Daniela. You gave me hope.
Thank you. Yes. They do that to a lot of people. Yes. So I wanted to bring that on, on blast.
A lot of people's pictures as well. So I know that you changed how you do your you changed how you watermark your pictures. And I know it kind of makes it hard for us to see the design, but I think the watermarking is even better because they would pretty much have to destroy the photograph to be able to take the watermark off. And I know that a lot of bloggers have been having a problem with that too. And I sew for friends and stuff. I don't do sewing as a job or anything, but I do patchwork and I teach people how to fit patterns and stuff. And I studied mostly with my eye towards learning how to fit the regular pattern for the average woman to be able to sew for herself. And I started out of the gate. I was helping folks like yourself to design patterns for your line. And I would do either working patterns or manufacturing patterns for you guys to send them wherever y'all sent them to have them done. So it's always good to see folks like yourself, you are so neat in how you drape. I love the way you drape. It is so neat. I cannot say that I drape that neatly. So I just wanted to, we all have.
And that's not even that great. That's not even what it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be done. I just do it the way I can do it for myself and get it the way I wanted to get it. So that's not even close.
Because you are so close to your market, you're hands-on with your market, and I think because of the way things are nowadays, we have to be close to our market. We have to be approachable to our market. And with that being said, how do you handle, like you said, you don't really design for plus size. How do you handle when you have someone that comes in for plus size? How do you handle turning that down, or, give me what you would do with that?
Okay. The most curviest person I had, and actually I had a couple of girls who were like size 18. 18 is pretty, the most I've done for plus size. 18 was the max. I did get someone a couple of years ago, and I was a bit nervous to go ahead and tackle it because, again, I never done plus size. So I did politely turn her down. I said, I'm not ready to go ahead and pursue to do a plus size, because I didn't want her to go ahead and promote it and then a bunch of other women came and I couldn't fulfill it. So I didn't want to go ahead and disappoint anyone else. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit later before I can go ahead and do this. But there are women who come to me for, like, you know, one of my, like, couple of my pieces, like pants, and they were size 18. My mother, she's a size 18, so she kind of helps me with the fitting. And that I do take on a very small few, and I just go from there. So I don't really do much, but I do take in some orders.
About that, because when you're working with plus size, I know you have, because you don't do plus size, you understand then that you have to have multiple size fit models if you're going to go into the plus size. So if you choose to go into the plus size, then I'm understanding that you realize then that you got to actually take on a whole nother realm, right?
Yes, because you know what, even if for younger, even for skinnier women, there's different type of body shapes, and body types. You got the triangle, you got the hourglass, you got the athletic frame, and they also have that in a plus size segment as well. For other plus size women, they vary. It varies. It doesn't not mean necessarily is one for all plus size, because there's different type of body shapes. So I think you need to understand that before you tackle that whole market. And since I don't know what will flatter for a plus size hourglass versus a plus size who is a triangle shape, then I would have to go ahead and study the body first in order for me to go ahead and tackle that market, because not everything's going to look good on every plus size woman, and sometimes they don't. They try to envision themselves in that type of style, and it doesn't work out for them. So I don't want to go ahead and do something that I'm not ready for, but I am definitely want to consider it.
I think that you are, that's one of the reasons why I admire you so much, because you recognize that there is not just a plus size. You have the full womanly figure, you have the athletic build, and then you have, the Bertha has a big old butt, whatever, but it has the itty bitty waist. So, that's something that a lot of people have to take into consideration. And I hope that folks who are following, or that folks that are actually here on this interview recognize that just because it can be sewn does not mean it's made for your body. And, being a specialist in helping ladies who sew for themselves, it's always a challenge to first get folks to understand that just because I can sew, or just because you can sew, does not mean go ahead and make that for yourself. You have to take into consideration, and to be a designer like yourself, to be so considerate of that, I want to tell you, my hands are up to you, child. I love it. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Andrea, very much for coming in.
Yeah, I think it's very important.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Andrea.
Nice meeting you, Daniela.
Pleasure meeting you too. Have a
Sorry
good day.
about cutting you off. There's a bit of a lag on my end, I think. Sorry. I just noticed that we've missed a couple questions here, and we're getting close to our time, so I thought we could quickly zip them in, and then I'm sure you have got lots to do, so we don't want to take up your time. Whoops, I just lost it. Whew, they were a little while ago. A similar question to earlier, but a bit different. Not just how long it takes to sew, but how long it takes from conception of the design all the way through to the final garment. It's a very good question.
See, I like to brainstorm. Usually for me, it's very different. Like, it depends. It could be from fabrication. Sometimes a lot of ideas run through my mind, and I just jot them down just to keep them aside. So when the time comes up, oh, I want to create something really quick or do something, I already have a design set up already, because that's just like random. It's just random. This has nothing to do with, oh, I'm going to go create something. with that said, I usually start with a sketch first, and that comes to me at any time. But usually, since my mind is working for, like, if I'm going to be doing a co-collection, my mind's already processing, what is it exactly I want to work on? What is it that I want it to look like? And it's automatically already processing, so that idea can come in any time. And once it does, I just go ahead and put it in on paper. So if it's within the month, if I have like something I want to do, like 4 styles, I have a specific theme that I want to go with. I already got like the designs coming up because it's already processing. I want it to look like this, and then it starts coming up. So it depends. You know, there's no really like special or how long it takes. It's just start processing. It's just that's how it works in my mind.
Oh, that's fabulous. It's nice to understand your design process. I always find that part quite interesting myself. I think we had one more question. Did I lose it?
It was Alethea.
Oh, from Alethea, yes. Thanks for flagging that, Myra. That was lovely of you.
You're welcome.
Do you source your own work at any time, or are you hands-on from cut to finish?
Cut to finish, from scratch to finish. I do all my samples from scratch. So if it goes into production, then I will get someone to help me, because I can't do it. I just can't. But if it's like something small, then yeah, it's me right now. It's like, yeah, so I do everything from the beginning, from sketching all the way to sewing, to pattern making, to draping, to fitting, and then photography,
modeling,
emailing, everything.
Yeah, like Myra mentioned, you're even your own model.
Yeah, and a beautiful one at that.
Yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I did see a comment here. So good to know. That was Alethea. She said that she's very encouraged and intrigued by this interview. So inspired. Very welcome.
Thank you.
See if we have any more. Oh, Andrea says a one-woman band like Prince.
Yeah. That's how it is in the beginning.
Oh,
one woman show.
I think that's it. If nobody else has any other questions, or no one else wants to get in the hot seat, we're actually getting close to our time to end, so we don't want to hold Daniela up any longer. We truly appreciate you giving us the time that you did give us. We'll be closely watching your progress, and we can do anything that we can do to help you along the way. And I have a blog too, and I plan on featuring you on my blog as well, because I was so amazed at, number one, that I didn't know anything of you. It's like, how can this be? I was like Alethea when I saw that. I was like, what? You know, I'm in the sewing community for many years, and I don't know this young lady. Oh my gosh. So yes, thank you so much for giving your time to us.
Yes, no worries. I'm glad to share my experience. I think a lot of people would appreciate it, and I think it's necessary to share the experience of my journey.
It's great getting to know the person behind the brand, and everyone should follow you. You're on Pinterest, Google Plus, everywhere. She's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Goodness, everywhere. And there's slightly different things on her YouTube channel to her actual website. So and please YouTube. Make sure you follow her.
Blogs.
Exactly. She's everywhere. It's awesome.
Definitely.
Andrea was just saying you have to be on YouTube. She is on YouTube. She's definitely on YouTube as well.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's my main hub. That's my main hub.
Yes, and so we'll wind up the show because we're a little bit over time. But I wanted to make sure we thanked Myra as well for jumping in as Alethea was busy this evening. So thank you so much, Myra. I think you did a fabulous job. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. It was my pleasure. My pleasure for interviewing.
Did a fabulous job. And everyone who came to watch this evening. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you could hear me.
Yes.
I think I have a bit of a lag. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you all, everyone. It was my pleasure interviewing the great. That's quite okay. It was my pleasure interviewing this wonderful lady.
Yeah.
I'm just so pleased that I was able to step in because this was one interview I enjoyed doing. I really did. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Dawn, for another great session of Blab. Uh-oh, is everyone locked up?
Yeah, we seem to be breaking up.
Alrighty.
So that sounds like a good time
Yeah, we're
to
up,
end the show. So thank you again, Daniela.
Okay.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.